So mousepad bagi aku selalu rasa yang mousepad is one of those things yang a bit overrated. But today we are going to take a look at one mousepad which caught my eye. That's the Fantech MPC 900 0G. And this is possibly the best mousepad you can get in Shopee right now. Now this mousepad retails for around RM75 Malaysia for the larger size, which is substantially cheaper than its rivals. This mousepad is actually a clone of the highly regarded End Gear MPC 450 mousepad. It's made from the same factory, and it's also made from Cordura material. So, how does it perform? Okay, now like always I start my reviews with the unboxing first. I mean, at least you get a proper packaging lah. It's not like some OEM mousepad, so you feel like you're getting a high quality product. So the mousepad actually datang rolled, so you know that once you open the mousepad, it won't lie perfectly flat. I suggest if you want an out of the box flat mousepad, you get the smaller size lah. The smaller size actually datang dengan the usual flat packaging, so that one is ready to use and flat out of the box. Now, first impression masa aku first time dapat mousepad ni is that this is definitely considered a speed pad lah kalau you guys nak a summary. But before we go in depth about the performance, I nak talk about a bit about the Cordura material of this mousepad a bit. But what about the Cordura material itself? What advantages does it have for a mousepad? Well, there are three main advantages. Now, the first advantage is the durability. The Cordura material is actually usually used in like things like bags and even military clothing. So it's actually a very durable material. And then you can feel that you would expect that I keep saying that this is a speed pad, and you would expect that the surface is very smooth. But actually no, the surface is actually quite rough. It's similar to like when you're holding like a jeans surface. So in a way, there's also the disadvantage of sometimes people having their forearm feeling very irritated because of the rough surface of the mousepad. Here, have a listen. Now the second advantage of the Cordura is actually it has no coating. You know how certain mousepad actually there's a coating on top of the mousepad. So when you use the mousepad for the first time, it feels very smooth, it feels great. But then you used it for like 2 months, 5 months, and then the mousepad starts to feel different. It starts to become more draggy. Dia jadi macam slow. So that is because the coating wears off. But because of the material of the Cordura, there's no coating, and because like I said previously, it's very heat resistant and sweat resistant, the feel can remain consistent for a longer time. So as far as durability, it's very good. And then number 3 is water resistant. Yeah, I know some people will say to me, bro, that's not an advantage, that's not really something I look for in a mousepad. Yes, but it's always an advantage. Having a water resistant mousepad is still better than having a non-water resistant mousepad. So the water resistant feature for me is actually quite advantageous because I use it as a desk mat, and sometimes there are droplets of water going into the mousepad, so being water resistant is always a plus. Okay, now on to the performance of the mousepad lah. I consider this mousepad to be a very smooth mousepad, a speed-based mousepad lah. The mouse is definitely easier to glide compared to my QCK, Goliathus and previous Logitech G640 if I'm not mistaken. So as you can see, with this mousepad is very easy to spin the mouse 360. And keep in mind lah, this mouse is actually still using the stock Logitech mouse feet. Now comparing it to a generic mousepad, you can see there's a lot more friction lah. When I push the mouse immediately wants to like stop. There's a lot more friction lah between the mouse and the mousepad. Now the Razer is slightly better than the OEM mousepad, but dia still tak ada that smooth feeling like the Fantech has lah. It does like slightly more friction. Now why do I talk about speed a lot is because I think bila kita punya aim untuk mouse and mousepad is that we want the fastest and the smoothest motion possible. Kan, we don't want the mouse to drag, especially when you're playing games with a lot of movement like this, like Call of Duty multiplayer, or you're playing Apex, kan, even Warzone. So it requires a lot of mouse adjustment and mouse input, so you want the mouse to be as smooth as possible. Now when you're using this mousepad, it's not like macam there's no control. The control is actually quite decent, only the stopping power is a bit less lah. So there will be an adjustment period lah. For example, when I started using this mousepad, I actually lowered my sensitivity from 2.5 to 2 lah. But then after that, I got used to it and I increased it back to 2.5. Now the speed mousepad also helps if you're playing slower shooters like CSGO or Valorant. Now games like this, actually people would think that fast mousepad not very important, but actually you do a lot of big swipes when you're playing this game actually. So it's much easier if you are doing big swipes using a smoother mousepad with less friction kan. Takkan you want a very draggy mousepad. I know it's down to preference, but if you ask me, I would always take a speed mousepad compared to a control mousepad. Now the other things that I like about this mousepad is of course dia punya edges stitched lah. I mean, don't underestimate this feature. You will be surprised. Macam Razer ada mousepad yang tak ada edges stitched, even Logitech pun. So I really appreciate this feature. The base of the mousepad pun is actually rubberized lah. Plus this is Cordura material, so it's very heavy. So definitely if you're putting it on the table, it's not gonna slide anywhere lah. Now on to the things that I don't like lah about this mousepad. Number one is on the right upper corner, dia ada logo tau. And then this logo actually raised. So if you glide your mouse, you can feel that alamak, it suddenly become draggy lah. So that one is point number one. And then on the left side, you can see there's a tag of Cordova fabric. But actually this one, you can cut it off lah if you want. But it doesn't really bother me. Okay guys, so we have reached the end of the video. So what do you guys think? For me, under 100 ringgit, I think it's a no-brainer. Fantech is obviously the only choice. It's in the league of its own. Maybe the Razer Gigantus V2 is a competitor, but there are flaws in that mousepad and it's quite a conventional mousepad, so I'm not really very interested in that mousepad. If you guys have any other suggestion of good mousepads under 100 ringgit Malaysia, do leave it in the comment below. Anyway, like always, if you like my content and you like to support my channel, do leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you find it helpful, do share the video. Otherwise, see you guys next time.